one thing that I like to look at is like somebody, when I'm choosing to work with somebody, is not like, yeah, do they have the experience? Can I see past deals that they've done and have they been good? Were they recent deals? But not just like, oh, that person made a lot of money, but is that the type of investment that I'm looking for my investment now that when I'm using a buyer's agent as well? Like, is it like if I'm looking for a particular type of residential property at this price range, have they done much of that? And what were the results? And is it similar? But then also speaking to the person as well, if they are the person that has the Ferrari, the suit, their hair's perfect and everything's perfect, but they don't show some vulnerabilities and some insecurities, there's nothing for me to attach or grab onto that they're a real person and they're trustworthy enough to, you know, share who they actually are as a person versus just the polished version as well. And I look at that through marketing, sales calls, and all that sort of stuff.
I actually sort of disagree with you there, but I think that's because you're a similar personality to me. Like we're both, you're a hippie that's surfing in Indonesia kind of thing. I drive around in camp events, so I'm never going to gravitate towards that personality. There are some slick suit wearing people that make lots of money for their clients, and they generally attract the slick suit wearing guy. There's that guy recently just made the billionaire list in Australia. The guy does the online marketing stuff and put his Ferrari up in the tower in Sydney and things like that. There are people that they can enjoy that and they can be part of that world. I agree. I'm going to say most of them are sharks and they're kind of it's a persona. But yeah,
I'm not going to hire that person though as well, right? Like I'm not going to. Like my goal is not to be a billionaire. Like I don't want to be a billionaire because I don't want to have to work that much, right? So why would I hire somebody? And I've done this before. I've hired a mentor that helped me make a ton of money in my business in my first year, and I built the wrong business, and it was the worst thing for me. But I made money, and a lot of it.
Yeah. And I'm sure I've lost clients because of how I dress. I wear casual t-shirts, shorts. I'm a bit rough around the edges. I'm not getting the overseas person with 50 mil investing in me. They're not going to trust me. I don't wear the watches and I don't have the slick back hair and all that stuff. So, which is fine. There's people that deal in those big ones that make lots of money as well and have way different knowledge to me. Like I have no idea how to like value a Westfields, for instance. But there's people that will go out there and actually be able to buy a Westfields and negotiate it. So I think you're naturally going to gravitate towards someone that you can get a bit of a relationship with and at least not aspire to. You just don't feel like they're going to pull the wool over your eyes. You feel like they're somewhat accountable.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's a certain level in the business. Obviously, your business has grown and you've kept your level of quality really, really, really well from what I can understand and see. But yeah, you're right. There's like those up and comers that are really trying to prove themselves. Like kind of like they're difficult to find. And like don't get me wrong, I went through that part of my journey too, where it actually sometimes it cost the client the opportunity cost because we were sitting around and I was trying to find the absolute perfect property, which I've obviously come to realize it doesn't always exist. It doesn't exist. It's the perfect portfolio that you build. But I definitely sort of find it's nice to have someone who just really, I guess you vibe with, and you can see they care about you.
It's, I think, just being true to yourself. And I sort of learned this lesson the hard way as well. When I first joined a buyer's agency, I shaved the beard, I wore the suit, I went to meetings, and I felt like a phony. And I think people got that. I was actually trying too hard to sell. Now that I'm more casual and I just kind of tell it how it is, I actually have a way better strike rate. I actually, one of the big supermarket chains, I actually have bought properties for him he's a director of a big supermarket chain, big high up. I turned up, he was in the proper suit, expensive car, watches and stuff. And I turned up in a t-shirt and jeans. And he's like, oh, thanks for dressing up. And I'm like, would you trust me more if I dressed up? And he's like, probably not. And he signed up on the spot because of that. Like, just because not that I showed I didn't care. I was just like, this is me. I'm the traveling rough around the edges hippie, and I've embraced that. And since then, I actually get feedback from clients saying that. They're like, you seem to be who you are on social media and in real life.
Yeah, and that's so important. That's a really good metric to look for, right? Is who you are on social media versus who you are in real life and who you are when you're working as well.
Yeah. So like even my personal Facebook, like most of my clients and followers add that, and they just see it's me talking absolute nonsense and surfing and gym and playing with my baby and stuff like that. I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. But again, that's just me. Like I don't want to have a job for 20 years that I have to pretend to be someone else. For me, that's a recipe for unhappiness.
Yeah, I don't regret in the Queensland summer wearing a tie. It's horrible. Doesn't make any sense to me, but obviously I don't have that affiliation with things. But that also goes to why I love investing and buying assets, not liabilities, because it takes you away. Like, what's the ultimate goal in life? Is it to have all these things around you, which let's face it, you die, you don't end up with them anyway, or to have a bit of a legacy? And that's where that investing mindset came in. Whereas, like, you can set up not only yourself but your future families through legacy assets, and commercial property and residential property is the way that I've had the most success, and it makes sense to me because I sucked at currency trading. But yeah, here we are.
I actually had, so when I started my business and I was in the UK, so I actually thought I was nowhere near going to be able to get lots of clients and grow, because as soon as I'm like, I'm overseas, I thought 90% of people are just going to be like, I'm not dealing with someone overseas. But weirdly, it actually helped with sales, because people are like, yep, I want exactly that, Steve. Get me a passive income where you don't have to work like that. And I had the opposite problem. I actually grew too fast because I was overseas. So